What is up everybody, it's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and in this video we will be discussing a Boku no Hero fan theory that Deku was actually born with a quirk, but that it was stolen while he was still a child before he even realized that he had it. I have to stress right away that this is a theory, not a spoiler. This has not been confirmed in the manga or anything like that. However, there will be some manga spoilers in this video, although season 3 of the anime will cover all of the relevant material, so there won't be any spoilers beyond season 3 content. I first came across this theory on Reddit while I was doing research for a totally different Boku no Hero video, so I definitely can't claim credit for coming up with this idea, and I will link the initial posts that I saw in the description. Feel free to check them out. And the other day, I asked you guys to reply to me on Twitter and Instagram with your own crazy theories about the world of MHA, and I will be sharing some of those at the end of this video. For next time, I want you guys to reply on our Twitter or Instagram and tell me who your favorite anime villains are and why. It can be MHA villains or villains from any other anime or manga. Just follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Anime Uproar and give me your input. Your responses will be relevant for a future video. And of course, if you enjoy this type of content and you want to see more, you can leave a like to let me know. And if you're new, you can also subscribe, and Detroit, smash that notification bell so you can be notified every time a new video is out. Now, the key to this theory that someone might have tampered with Deku's quirk is Deku's doctor. Remember back when Deku was a kid, he was waiting for his quirk to manifest, but it never did. So his mom took him to the doctor to see what's wrong. The doctor examined him and concluded that because he has 2 joints on his pinky toe, Deku is one of those people who would never get a quirk. As this extra joint in the pinky toe has become unnecessary for humans, those without it are considered to represent the next stage of evolution. But Deku has 2 joints, so this apparently means that he will never have a quirk. And this is all well and good until we realize something incredibly important. Deku's doctor from chapter 1 of the manga appears to be the very same doctor who is seen working with All for One, the mastermind behind the League of Villains, in chapter 59 of the manga. Once he appears in the anime, the doctor is even voiced by the same voice actor on both occasions. And this is what has led fans to speculate that the fact that this doctor treated Deku and other young children is no coincidence. All for One's quirk allows him to steal the quirks of others, and so the theory states that the doctor must have been using his position to find quirks with lots of potential, which All for One would then proceed to steal. And so the theory goes that perhaps Deku was indeed born with a quirk, but the doctor helped All for One steal it and simply lied about Deku being quirkless. The fact that both of Deku's parents have quirks makes it much less likely for him to be born without a quirk from a genetic perspective. He would be far more likely to be born without a quirk if one or both of his parents were also quirkless. So, is it really possible that Deku had a quirk but it was stolen, and this will become a major twist and reveal later on in the story? There are 2 main issues with this. First, there is the question of the second joint on Deku's pinky toe. If it is universally true that having a second joint always means being born without a quirk, and Deku does indeed have a second joint, then Deku was born quirkless, that's all there is to it. But if it is possible for someone to be born with a quirk and a second joint in their pinky toe, maybe a rare occurrence but still possible, or if the doctor somehow switched the x-ray of Deku's foot with someone else's to cover up what he did, then it is possible that Deku might have been born with a quirk without realizing it. The second question is, if Deku did have a quirk before it was stolen, how was he not aware of it? Could a quirk really manifest without the user even realizing it? Well, it all depends on the nature of the quirk, and we know that All for One's brother thought that he was born quirkless well into adulthood until he realized that he had a quirk that was lying dormant inside his body. A quirk that allowed him to transfer his quirk onto someone else, and this quirk of course became One for All. So, with that said, if Deku had been born with a quirk, what type of quirk could it have been? Perhaps something that only activates under extraordinary circumstances, like if Deku's life is in danger. So if his life was never in direct danger as a child, Deku would not have known that he had a quirk at all. And shout out to Felix on Twitter for having this same exact thought. Let me know what you guys think. I definitely need your help on this one. Tell me in the comments what type of quirk Deku could have had so that he didn't even realize that he had it. And again, I'm not saying that this theory is confirmed to be true, I am just asking hypothetically because I find this whole idea really interesting. Another aspect of this theory is the idea that even if the doctor didn't steal Deku's quirk, he might have stolen the quirks of other children or even abducted children and turned them into the monstrous Nomu. Remember this kid with wings who used to hang around Bakugo when Deku and Bakugo were kids? According to Boku no Hero extra material, this boy is actually the grandson of the same doctor who told Deku that he was quirkless. And now for the final twist. Remember the winged Nomu that grabbed Deku in the big showdown during the Stain arc? Well, in the past, Horikoshi has stated that there was a reason why the winged Nomu grabbed Deku out of all the people there. And the hint that he gave us was this drawing. The drawing looks just like the boy from Deku's past, and the strong implication is that the winged boy from Deku's childhood, the grandson of the doctor, is directly linked to the winged Nomu, and perhaps he is even the winged Nomu himself. If that is true, that is really dark, like Nina Tucker from Full Metal Alchemist dark. Let me know if you think that the doctor has been stealing the quirks of children or even turning children into Nomu. Is the winged Nomu the same boy with wings from Deku's childhood? That would just be crazy, and it would also mean that the doctor turned his own grandson into a monster. If this was really true, it would open up a whole new dark chapter in the world of Boku no Hero. At least that's what I think, and let me know if you guys agree down below. And now for some of your theories from Twitter and Instagram. Toothless Gravy says, this is a pretty dark theory, but what if the UA trader is Uraraka? Since her family owns a construction business, all of the battles between the heroes and villains could provide the chance that her family could get a contract to fix the damages after all of the attacks. Well, we do know that Uraraka became a hero in order to make money, so would she really go so far as to help the villains for profit? It would certainly be a big twist, but I don't think that it's likely. So far, Uraraka as a character has been portrayed as extremely nice and cute and Deku's primary love interest. So just from a writing perspective, I don't think that this will happen unless Horikoshi really wants to mess with us. Both on Twitter and Instagram, I saw a lot of theories about Deku's dad potentially being a villain, and that is why he is never around. But IG Mommy XXCC has another idea. He says, I have the wackiest theory about Deku's dad, so it goes like this. It sounds crazy, but just hear me out. Deku's dad is an ordinary man. Mind blown. Natsu Fired Up says that his theory is that MHA is an alternate timeline to the Marvel universe. Each MHA character is an alternate version of a Marvel character, like All Might is the alternate version of Captain America, and you can tell this by looking at his costume and moveset. Well, Horikoshi was definitely directly inspired by Marvel Comics when he created Boku no Hero. He openly states this himself, and he has been a Marvel Comics fan for his whole life. So you can definitely say that in some ways, MHA is Horikoshi's own version of the Marvel universe. Anime Dude has a sad theory that Deku never actually inherited All Might's power or became the greatest hero, but rather he was put into a coma during the fight with the sludge villain as he tried to save Bakugo back in episode 2. And what we are watching is his dream scenario that takes place inside his head. Well, if Horikoshi ever gets tired of writing the manga and decides to give a big middle finger to the entire fan base, this is definitely the way to go. I can't even imagine the reaction and backlash if this were to happen. Noxtaku has a theory that the dozens of fake accounts relating to Mineta and Lord Twigo that keep spamming him on Twitter are actually my own accounts. I cannot confirm or deny any of that at this time. Over on Instagram, we have Shield Labs, and by the way, huge shout out to Shield Labs for making an awesome fan art of me and Gozen. Thanks a lot. Shield Labs says, what if the UA trader is someone who doesn't know that they are the trader? That would be quite a misdirect. For example, a UA student who's been under the power of someone with a quirk of hypnosis. Something like the mind control quirk that Hitoshi had, but long term. Essentially something that would force a student to report information unwillingly and unknowingly to the villains. This is a very interesting idea for sure, and actually my own theory that I talked about in our Who is the UA Traitor video was exactly that. I said that Nezu, the principal, may be being controlled by All for One without realizing it. If you want to know why I think that, I will link that video in the description. Obsidian Jade also had the idea that Deku might have a quirk that wasn't activated because perhaps it was suppressed. Again, the idea that Deku may have had a quirk but it was stolen or somehow suppressed would be a huge twist, and depending on how it's done, it could be pretty cool. But again, there is no confirmation of anything along these lines at this time. Abdallah Halfana also had the idea that Deku's father's long business trips might be related to helping the villains. Because the idea that Deku's father isn't in the story because he just isn't relevant seems kind of off. Why would Deku's own father play no role in his life unless the father had some sinister motives? I do agree that the father's absence is pretty strange, and Horikoshi is really going to have to dig deep to explain this one. I'm looking forward to finding out more about the father in the future. And Chris Alvarez says, what if One Punch Man takes place in the same world as My Hero Academia, but in the past when being a hero for a job was new to the world? This is a crazy idea for sure, but I always thought that the worlds of One Punch Man and Boku no Hero are very similar to each other, so some sort of crossover would be super cool. I actually have a crazy theory along these lines that I may make a video about in the future just for fun. And that is all the comments that I can get to in this video. Thank you all so much for your input. If you want to participate in future videos, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Anime Uproar. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, you can leave a like to let me know. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, and Detroit, smash that notification bell. As always, thank you all so much for watching, thank you for all your support, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.